Hello, my name is Autumn Gillespie, and I'm doing my final over industrial environmental justice. There were three main problems that I really saw when it comes to industrial waste disposal. One was the disposal of waste in low-income communities. Two, the regulations of these industrial companies weren't really enforced correctly, and they were either too strict or too loose for these disposals or these incidents to happen. And three, the values of humans were outweighed by production of industrial goods. Here are some case studies on these next couple of slides that involve the dumping of waste in low-income communities. The first one is the Love Canal incident. The Love Canal incident was considered the most appalling environmental tragedy in America. The canals were built by William T. Love to help with the transport of electricity to his wanted dream community. Love really couldn't endure the fluctuation of the economy, and in this time the canals were really stated to be a place where chemical waste was dumped. By 1953, a company called Hooker Chemical Company covered the canal with toxic waste consisting of 82 different compounds. 11 of these were suspected carcinogens. In 1978, the canal exploded and result it leached into communities and to schools. 2 years later, action was taking place. They rebuilt the homes of these damaged places and the schools. However, nothing could really compensate what the community endured. The next case study is over the Kettleman City toxic waste dump. Kettleman's power plant bordered a low-income Spanish community. This company wanted to expand but had over 70 toxic waste spills unreported to the California Chemical Department. They really didn't understand why it was stopping them from expanding. So a little back note, a company must report incidents of spills within 24 hours of a spill occurring, and this company didn't. The spills have caused the community's drinking water to be contaminated, and since it lies on the west of Mississippi River. For them to expand, they had to pay a fine of $300,000. The company paid this fine. However, the community just saw it as a slap on the wrist to them. It really didn't hurt them whatsoever. Due to these spills, these 70 toxic spills, there has been a linkage of birth defects, miscarriages from these occurrences, and with the expansion granted, the community probably foresees more incidents occurring. Some ethical ramifications and considerations. I saw some positive benefits, of course. One was integrated equity, which is the choosing of technology and strategies to minimize risk towards hazardous spills to pass on to future generations from current generations to help with waste control. The second one was collaborated enforcement. So the EPA has had a long battle on how to enforce regulations either in a strict ruling setting or a loose ruling setting. The EPA has learned how and some common grounds of how to enforce these rules from companies, from trial and error, and to help make sure these companies are following the rules and regulations. There are a lot of negative consequences that I really saw that outweighed a lot of positivity. One of them was the communities and individuals involved, or those that were exposed, were really exposed to toxic chemicals. The targeting of communities were really part of predominantly Black and Hispanic that experienced a lot of environmental racism. Another one was with stricter enforcement, companies tended to lobby towards Congress to apply a softer or loosened reins of rules. And another one was management of these custom companies and the systematic approaches that they dealt with, such as risk perception, or there was a lack of it. It really wasn't efficient, and this caused a lot more accidents and improper waste disposal to occur. Some effective policies that I really saw go towards the EPA. The EPA enforces rules and regulations. However, they also do funding towards those areas that have endured exposure of improper waste disposal or spills. This is known as the Superfund. Others was the incineration of emissions has also been shown effective. These were such as those of waste preparations and feeding, combustion chambers, air pollution control, and ash residue handling. Another thing that I saw were also the policies that were involved, such as the Environmental Act of 1970, the National Environmental Protection Council of 1995, and the Environmental Protection Amendment Act, which is just passed in 2018. However, with these policies or acts, it was really no policy towards where chemical plants or where industrial industries were to really be set up and how they were to be formed around such communities. Improving the problem, there are a couple of ways that I saw that we could improve the problem. One would be to help prevent low-income houses being built near hazardous sites. Another one was to develop outreach programs that move towards reaching environmental equity. This would be such as really no one deserves to be in a polluted area. Another one was treat and handle proper hazardous areas. In this case, it would probably be a teachable moment for companies to properly treat their sites, and of course, those that are affected around it, and what these hazardous chemicals are doing to the people around them. Another thing that I thought of and that I read was train minority healthcare providers for environmental health. This just gives more of an opportunity for those that are exposed to get the proper treatment to them instead of just going to just a normal doctor. They have individuals that are trained just for incidents just like this. And of course, we want to recognize the values-based approach and care ethics. Usually just recognize human values and care ethics towards improving human and human relations and proper understanding that every life is important. The last slide is how to apply the ethical approaches. One, I feel like we need to be more coherent towards the human value and of course human needs. The production of goods in this industry is good. However, the production of greater goods should not outweigh intoxicating a person from improper management or the improper handling of waste. The second one is I believe we should try to get rid of the equity vision, meaning we just need to get rid of the idea of that those who aren't wealthy should deserve such treatment. However, they shouldn't. No one deserves to be in an area that is polluted, given any social status, whether it be wealth, your income, your social class, your race, your gender. And the last one is the role of compensation. I believe compensation should be considered, but only if all options are exhausted through such a risk perception, such as preparing towards unforeseen events, such as pipage leakage, a spill that has occurred, and any other things that could happen. A company should be prepared for such incidents and how to handle it if it is to come to the point where it does intoxicate those that are around them, and how to properly treat it. And if those options are exhausted, I do believe compensation should be implied to help sort of ease the pain of what they are dealing with.